How's it going, everyone? There we go. How's it going, everyone? Scott McKay here, Thin Air Graphics Airbrush and Design Studio, here on the Down and Dirty Tricks live feed. And for some reason, my sound bars are showing up on the screen, and I had that off. Hold on one second. I'm going to fix that because that's annoying. Well, I guess we're not going to fix that. So that's going to stay like it is for now, and it'll go off eventually. One little hiccup. And I just spilled paint everywhere, and I need you to clean it up. Oh, the things are going live. All right, well, while we're trying to clean this up, we are going to, don't get those. Alright, sorry guys for that technical difficulty here. Trying to fix one thing and broke another thing, and that's what happens when we go live. So, let's start this over. Welcome to Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks. Tonight we are going to do a little LowRider style paint scheme with some panel art and some different textures and patterns in here. And so before I get started, I'll kind of let you know what I did here. What I did do is I recorded all the how-to on this. Ignore Kaylee in the background. Actually, she's not on camera. So, yeah, that's what happens when you go live. So let's see. We got people on Facebook. So everyone on Facebook, you can see that feed. It's kind of a lower res feed because it's just a big regular webcam. If you can, we'll post a link up soon. Go up to the Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks YouTube channel, and that's where the higher quality feed is with the multi-cameras and things like that. Yeah, so let me talk to you a little bit about what we got here. So I did a little tape out design, got it laid out. That's good, Kelly. I can fix the rest later on. We just had a little paint spill. I was going to fix the audio thing that's sitting over here, which before the feed I got rid of, and now it's showing back up on camera. So technical difficulty, and then I moved and I grabbed my airbrush hose and flicked my micron on the ground, which I didn't have my nozzle cap, so my needle is now bent and ruined. So I'm gonna have to replace all that situation. So that just happened. Good thing I got some extra parts. We'll have to rebuild this and fix it. Maybe I'll do a little video on that. We'll switch to one of my other brushes for that and just make it happen. For the most part, this whole video I'm going to be using just Eclipse airbrushes. Okay, your basic Eclipse airbrush, because we're going to be doing this pattern type work, which is more, spraying nice gradation of paint. And then I'm thinking maybe we'll take a poll and kind of see what things. Yeah, exactly. Ouch. James, thank you for checking in from Australia. Maybe I'm going to repurpose this skull from an old project and just kind of use it as reference and then just make my own up freestyle from there. Or maybe we'll do, a couple, pack of skulls and we'll mix them in. My plan is to do pattern work out here, color, and then a little airbrush mural in here pretty quick and easy. So, that is going to be the project. Yeah, Ray, let us know how everything's going over there. I just noticed you're on, and Gary mentioned your daughter. Let us know how everything's going. Okay, so let's see. So we got a few people over there on YouTube. We got 19 people over here on Facebook. Like I said, Facebook is a lower quality feed. It might be a little glitchy because my full camera system is set up over on YouTube. So Kaylee's going to try to post a link in a little bit. And I posted a link earlier. If you click on that on the page above, it will go up. Reed, that's awesome news, man. That's really, really good. Thank you for sharing. So, let's talk about what I got going on here. So, what I did today, I have an aluminum panel. Okay. This is, I've talked about this before. It's called Durabond. It is, or Comboard. There's all sorts. It's an aluminum composite, which basically means it's aluminum on both sides, and then it is PVC core in the middle, which makes it really light and durable. Awesome to ship. They don't get bent really easy, which is great. So I did with this panel, I took this panel and I painted it silver. I did a Createx Colors silver sealer, and then I did a core silver metallic mixed with a little dry ice pearl that I have, which was like a dry white diamond pearl that was used in the older Cadillac Diamond Edition. I had some dry flakes, so I mixed some of that into it, and it's got a cool sparkle to it. Not quite big flake. I didn't want to do big flake, but I want to kind of give that look here. So then what I did is I used my FBS fine line tapes, all the different fine line tapes I used, and I kind of go over it, and I did record this for how I laid this out and how I duplicated and mirrored it, so that's going to be coming in another video. I used 2 of the FBS tapes, so if you look over here, you got all the different things. Yeah, everyone kind of gets confused why there's different colors of tape, and basically the reason why is because you have soft, medium, rigid, extra soft, and medium soft. Each color represents a different scale of rigidity, how it bends. So if you're going to be doing a lot of straights, I go towards the yellow, more straights and slight bends, so that's going to keep everything straighter. And then when I'm doing some of these wiggles and bends and smaller, I use the blue. That's kind of my go-to for vinyl. And I use a different size for representing different things. So that's a brief overview of the tape. We'll go over it some more at another time. The other thing I want to get going is the colors I'm going to use tonight. If anyone wants to try a project like this or do it. So the colors I'm going to be using that I've already mixed up, I did Createx Candy 2.0 Dirt Track Brown, Grabber Orange, Illustration Black. In the Illustration Black, I put about 20% of the new Wicked Opaque Purple in it, just so it's not a pure black. Those are the 4 colors I'm really using, the basically 3. So I'm using 2 candies and like a semi-transparent. And that's what I'm going to do here. So it's oranges and root beers over silver. So it should be pretty cool. And yeah, so let me get going. And we'll kind of do what I'm going to do. So what I've done already, I did the tape layout. I sheet taped with transfer tape, just regular vinyl transfer tape over everything, and I kind of pre-cut my windows so I could just work on stuff and put textures in. Obviously, there's a lot of behind the scenes that goes into this, but I wanted to make it more, less tedious online. So what I'm going to do is, I've already pre-cut them, so I'm going to pull the windows where I put HC, and I wrote HC for a reason, because I'm going to do the standard, not standard, but everyone, kind of does it. It's the octagon, the hexagon, honeycomb pattern. We're going to run that through here. And then in the other ones, we're going to do a little something different, quicker texture, and then we'll do a mural here. And we'll see how I work my way out of this. And that's kind of how I, typically work it. So I've already taken these off. And this is one way to do these jobs. I want to thank everyone for showing up. Oh, we got a good amount of people in here. Hope everyone's having a great week. So I'm going to pull these. This is where I want this pattern. And then the other ones I'll do 2 different patterns. Just really simple. You can, with LowRider style graphic or the geometric kind of craze that's going on, and you can fill in just about anything. There's a million things out there you can do. I did honeycomb or the hexagon just because it's popular. It's done a lot. It shows well online. But there's millions of patterns. I have a whole bunch of patterns coming out soon that I vectored and done, like not standard ones like this, but I've done a whole bunch of them that are going to be really cool. I'll make those available for download in the near future. Okay, so I cut these on a big sheet, And then what I did to make this project easier, I just cut them into strips, so I know where everything's going to kind of lie in here, just to make it a little easier, and so I'm not wasting a whole bunch. So I just cut them down to strips, and I'll show you a few different ways to put them on. This is one way where you just pull the backing paper off. You're going to kind of find your area, try to make it somewhat straight. And I'm just going to lay it on. And I don't have a squeegee. I'm going to see if Kayla can go in the vinyl room and grab one of the yellow squeegees for me, please. Well, I got a good amount of people in here. Hello from Colorado. Been watching all your videos. Thanks, Don. Really appreciate it. First time you caught live. Really appreciate you coming on live. We're going to be doing these every week at 8 o'clock, weather permitting. Obviously, last week we lost right out in the middle of the feed. We had power outages, which was a little sketchy tonight because there is a tropical storm warning coming up the coast, but it's not quite here yet. We're going to get hit mainly tomorrow. So I hope all my friends down in North Carolina are safe and sound, because I think it's hitting them now.
Yeah, I think that's what Error was earlier.
Yeah, so I'm just, I'm just laying these on like this. Sticking them on, super easy. Now the other way you can lay these on, and I talked about this in one of my other videos, is the hinge technique. Hinge technique is really easy. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to put a hinge across the middle. Make sure I'm good. And this is good if you're doing like a really long, widespread area. So you want to make sure it's all straight. And you put a hinge across the middle, basically. Pull the vinyl back, roll it, and just pop that off. You can put it down with your fingers or use a squeegee. And same thing. Now you pull the hinge off the center. Roll this side back. Yeah, so the room off this room, so this is my office studio where I do all my design work and all that, and computer work and my artwork and where I film, and then the room over there is where the vinyl bench is and cutting bench and stuff like that is. Then I have the shop itself. Put that down. We got hit with the storm about an hour ago on Long Island. Oh, so you did get hit with a Long Island already. I didn't think it was going to hit you guys that fast. So it might get close to us this evening. So hopefully we don't lose power. And of course, as always, I forgot to hit the record button. So hopefully it doesn't go away. But I'm going to hit the record button now.
The, last time I think I said the wind speed was like 45.
Yes.
That's still pretty strong.
Yeah, so hopefully we don't lose power like we did last week. But I'm going to hit record, so if it does, I can not lose everything. But YouTube will keep most of it from here. So now this is one way to do it. Obviously, this is a pretty simple design. You can get wire mesh that you can just kind of hold in place and spray over. But this stuff is, doing it this way is going to give you a much more exact pattern. That's not going to move around on you. So we're just going to stick the rest of these on. Now make sure you don't like high and low. You want to make sure it looks like I'm going to make sure the pattern looks like it's repeating. And I'm not going to flood this in. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to try to like blend it and fade it so it's not, super stark. I don't want it like super bright. Yeah, Mike Green, you're right. Everyone's, for the high-end feed with the good visibility and all the camera angles and better picture quality, that is over on the YouTube stream right now. So if you guys on Facebook can click that link that's embedded right there that my daughter put up, you can just go right over and hop on the good feed. So, Jim, good question. So, the vinyl I'm using, this is FBS Blue Mask. Okay? For something this simple, on a flat surface, you can use any type of mask. Avery, some some of the Oracals. I don't really use Oracal much because it has problems with solvent. But water-based, it's fine. You can use anything for a job that's kind of flat like this. My go-to vinyl for all my stuff, especially on motorcycles and cars, is the FBS Blue mask. Because A, it cuts like butter, super detailed, not a problem. And it bends like, I mean, it warps on a curve. I can do a Harley logo on a gas tank with, no extra cuts, no wrinkles, and like wrap it around the side of the gas tank like an 8-inch circle like this without a problem. This stuff's great. So this is the blue mask. And they also make it in green, which is a transparent. Yes, Aura crap. Yeah, if you use Oracal on solvent, it's always a problem. It just always is. I've had some of their vinyls be okay, but it's not worth the crapshoot, so I don't recommend it. But FBS is what I use for all my masking tapes and my mask itself. So see, super simple. So for this is, flat panel, like I said, you could just get like chicken wire, screen, or whatever you want to blow through, stencils like this, blow through and move around super fast. But for, geometric designs like this, there's nothing beats using a plotter. And then, like I said, you could go buy all sorts of, pre-cut masks, but you're limited to size, you're limited to where they go. When you have a plotter file like this, you can manipulate it, stretch it, change it, kind of do anything you want with it. And go from there. This stuff's even good enough, but I didn't want to do it on video. I could lay it down without even sheet masking it, spray, peel it off, and reposition it. This stuff actually works really good for that. I just don't want to kind of do that on camera. Okay, we're already ready to paint. So like, so the steps I've done, I've already taped it off. I've backmasked it. The panel itself, like I said, was silver. And then I did silver sealer, a silver base coat, and then, JT, the A10S, the clear gray, I like it for certain things, but it's made for solvent. I don't like its tack. I had issues with it, but it's good stuff. I kind of stay away from Oracal now because I've had too many hits or misses. The FBS stuff is good for water solvent, anything. If you're doing big areas, you don't want to, you don't need the high detail of what FBS delivers. You can just use, my go-to is Avery, or Coast Airbrush has their auto mask by General Formulations, which is kind of the manufacturer of all like the generic brands of it. The yellow matte, it works awesome. That's all you really need. Okay, so my colors tonight. Like I said, I have my Dirt Track Brown color. Sure. So I have my Dirt Track Brown. I have Grabber Orange, and then I have the black mixed with Dirt Track Brown that has a little purple in it, and that's going to be my shade, my dark color, and that what was in my now destroyed micron, and I'll just do it here. I'll do it in this micron instead. Is black. Is my black, which is straight. And then I'm going to mix a little of that Dirt Track Brown into it. And it'll be kind of a hybrid in between the two. So see what I mean? It's now I have a transitional color for my detail. Those are the colors I'm using. And that's going to be it. And the mix is a standard candy mix, which is, I think the standard mix now they're recommending, I kind of eyeball it on this one. What is a 6-to-1 ratio of the 40-50 to Candy 2.0, and then the black is just, I did like 20% purple to the black, and then I just mix those together. Morning, Lee. How you doing? Lee's over there on Facebook. Shannon is over. No, Shannon, it's not a squid, brother. I almost did one. I was going to do a squid skull or an octa skull. That's going to come in the future. But I did strongly consider that, Shannon. So, hello from Florida. Amber, how'd you do down there in Florida with the storm? We're starting to get it coming up this way, but Obviously not what you guys got. Hopefully you were okay down there. David Tim from Arizona, you don't get bad weather. You just get heat. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do brown. I'm going to do the dirt track brown for my general fade, and then I'm going to wash over it with the oranges. I'll drop shadow with black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go towards the curve side, let it kind of fade out. So I'm going to try to count 1, 2, 1, 2. That way I count each one out. 1, 2, 1, 2. That way you control your passes. You make sure everything's got continuity across it. I'm going to go a little further out. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And let that overspray kind of cast out. 1, 2. 2. And just letting that blow out. It doesn't look it here, but you can peel back one piece and see if there's any on there. And there's a little bit. I'm going to saturate it a little bit more. Okay, so that is the dirt track brown. Now, I'm going to do a little kiss of the grabber orange, a little bit over the whole thing. Just let it work, and now you'll start to see that sparkle. I'm going to switch cameras here and zoom in and see if we can see it better. Kaylee's going to take those logos off. I'm kind of digging it. Let me just double check and see what I got going on here. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm going to give it one more kiss. This might be a little too much, but I'll do one more dirt track brown just on the leading edge. Oop, a little too heavy on that one. Make sure we balance it out. Easy peasy. So the thing about these jobs, these are not difficult jobs to pull off, but they do take some patience, and as long as everything goes right, they look great. If you mess something up, they're extremely hard to repair, mainly because it's candies over silvers. They're very exact patterns, so if you mess something up, it's really hard to correct. So, you know, a lot of people watch these videos like, oh, they take 5 minutes, they're easy. They take 5 minutes to go right. But it's kind of like doing any type of mechanical job. Every 5-minute job is only one broken bolt away from a 2-hour job. It's kind of how these go. Alright, let's pull these off and see what we got. Probably could have made this a little thicker for the screen, just to be easier to pull off, but it was not too bad. It'll be like a little bit of a net to get off. There we go. Look at that. So now that's there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop shadow this more and push these in the background. The key to doing graphics like this is to really make it look layered. And by understanding light source and shadow, you can really pull off a really big layered effect. Like if you leave it like that, it's going to look a little boring. So the key is I'm going to wash over more color, and we'll drop shadow this edge and all that stuff. We'll do a little bit in here, then we'll move into the mural. I'd like to thank everyone who's over on Facebook. Thanks for popping into Facebook. As you notice, the feed doesn't look quite as sharp. So if you could pop over to the YouTube side. The YouTube side has the really good cameras, and you can see everything really well. Yeah, and the link's tagged right there. And a lot of people are over there right now. I want to thank everyone for popping over there. I know Facebook's a little easier for most everyone because it notifies you easier. But on the reason why I'm doing this is YouTube. It's a lot better for me personally to do it over on YouTube. There's some financial benefits to it, but it's mainly because the feed is more stable over there with the cameras, and it's easier for people to look up a project and then be able to kind of find it later on and kind of go back to it for reference. On Facebook, after like 3 or 4 days, it's gone. Mitch, how's it going, man? Click on that link. Get over to YouTube. Watch it over there, buddy. What's up, eh? So that's why I did it over there on this side. Speaking of projects, speaking of live feeds, I'm going to talk about this. I almost planned a second feed. I was kind of unsure of what I was going to do tonight. So I have prepared a second project that I'm going to do next week and give it a little bit more treatment. And I'm going to make the project available ahead of time on my store. And we're going to download it, and I'll have the colored list ahead of time. And if you want to follow along next week as a proper like step-by-step how-to, you're going to be able to do it. So Kaylee's going to pop that up on the screen. And some of you guys might remember this little project here. So if you don't remember this project, this is from an article I did probably, I've got to say, 8 to 10 years ago for Airbrush Action Magazine. This was one of the first few articles I did for them. And it's obviously now since gone. You can't find the issues, or if you might have still one, but it's basically gone in the marketplace. It's just not there. So what I'm going to do next week and some weeks following, I'm going to go through all my articles I did back in the day. I'm going to re-video them as video walkthrough how-tos that'll coincide with the old step-by-step how-to, the picture one, and you'll be able to download these files on my McKay Fine Art store. So this is going to be next week's project. I've actually already prepped the panel. I'm going to do a little different than this. I made a stone effect panel, and we're going to do this next week. So stay tuned next week for that. I think some of you guys might remember it. Amber, to answer your question, I have not sold these yet. The plan is to sell these in the very near future. So I have a whole set up of files I'm going to go through and make like a vector pattern set download for everyone. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the orange over everything. Now, if I was in my shop, I'd be using like my LPH80 or a minigun to spray these panels, and see how it transitions out. It almost goes to nothing. Would have been good to have like the my TH2 here for this, but I want to get this all the same orange. I was going to do this all in black, just blacks and grays today, but I decided a little color. I haven't really done a bright orangey kind of thing yet. This was clear over, it's just gonna pop like crazy because all that metallic flake's gonna come through. Cool. Now I want to go back to my dirt track brown. I'm going to hit those edges a little more. I want to start creating a drop shadow so it looks like it's inset. I'm actually going to go around the outer edges just a little bit so it looks like it's pushed back. See the difference already? This side starts to look deeper than this. So when I start unmasking, it's going to look really deep. Easy peasy. Alright, let's keep those where they're at. While those are drying, I'm going to move on to these next windows. I'm going to make these a little simpler, less pattern work, just more like texture. If you're going to do something crazy in these, you may want to consider like covering these sections and waiting a little bit for it to dry. But I'm going to pull these. I'm going to pull these windows. Try to straighten that out a little bit. See how the difference, look at the angle. So when I switch the camera, see how it looks a little dullish here? Now when you come to this side with the light on it, see how much brighter that pops? It's a huge difference. That's the best thing about candies. It lets the light go through. You know, so basically the light travels through that candy layer, hits the metallic and silver flake, and then bounces back at you. That's what gives you that deep, deep, deep glow. And you know, this is more what you're seeing in the motorcycle and bagger industry, less of LowRider. But this type of design work has its roots in that LowRider type design work with the panels and patterns and things like that. So we could put different laces inside. You could do lace, you could do fan patterns, there's all sorts of stuff you could do. What I'm going to do inside this one, I'm going to make these look like double deep. So I'm going to add the nameless subscriber's back. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Thanks for popping back on. Swapped over to YouTube. Thank you, Lee, for popping over there. JR, man, how's it going, dude? You're over on the Facebook side. Click on that link. Jason Leslie, click on that link. Ruben, head over to the YouTube side, and you're gonna get a much better video quality. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this panel look double deep. Okay. So I usually do this. I keep my design work simple in the layout, and as I pick windows, I start to add more. So I'm gonna just bend the tape and just kind of mimic that same shape. I'm gonna get close. I'm not gonna exact measure, but just get a good feel. Come down a little more. What's nice about tape, you can pull it, reposition it. A little bend. Yeah, there we go. Snap that off. So watch what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna make this look like 2 layers deep. Just by doing that, I'm gonna pop that here. I'm gonna use the FBS gold tape and just quickly mask that off. Candles, well, yes, name a subscriber. You put a good question. You've heard candies are difficult to work with something about mistakes not showing through. Yes, so candies are very easy to work with as far as spraying and clearing them. As long as you mix them right and just kind of follow things along, you're fine with it. Yep, this is going to go back some more. Reposition. Yeah. Just playing with the design as you go. That's the kind of fun part about this. Yes, so, like, they're easy and they're a pain in the ass. Or a pain in the butt. Sorry about that. Like, this is good now. It's all dry, but if I was to, like, scratch this, it'd be almost impossible to, like, repair a little spot in this pattern and not have it show. You'd probably have to go back through and do most of them. So, yeah, there are difficult things to do with it. But, you know, anything custom really starts to get more difficult as you try to, like, you know, fix stuff. The more complex you get, the harder and harder it is to work with. I'm going to do this swirl pattern here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray this in here. I'm going to flip to this side. Okay, see that? Now I'm going to hit this. I'm going to do that one. I'm going to keep using the same colors. I can get continuity through the whole thing, but I want the same colors. I'm going to hit that. And this is all water-based candies. I'm not using any solvent. It's all Createx Candy 2.0 mixed up right. I'm going to hit that. So now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here. That's going to shadow. You know, maybe I'm going to hit this with a little bit of the black, but I'm a little too saturated. I'm getting a little too fast here. I got to talk more and paint less because it's getting really wet. And just like solvent, you get it too wet here, you can start getting bleed through the tape. You can start having delam issues if you skin it over too much. Water-based, same way. Water-based can be a little bit less forgiving if it's like super hot and humid, which we're a little hot and humid, so just be careful. Now I'm going to, this is that black mixed with the purple. I'm just going to use this as a drop shadow color. And you'll see what this does in a sec when I pull that tape. See how that panel is inset? I could have left the tape and made it an extra line, but I don't want that on this one. The nice thing about the gold and the blue is they're amongst the thinnest tapes on the market, so they leave next to no edge. And next to no edge is great. So I'm using like a 6-to-1 ratio Lee on the Candy 2.0. So, you know, before I used to do 1-to-1, equal parts of the 40-30, but now at the 40-50, I'm doing like 6 parts to 1. So now I'm going to take that same dirt track. I'm not going to use the... Now this one is just going to get the color fade. And see, always where it gets here, it's fine, because it's the same shade. I'm going to come up on it like this. And we'll give it, you know what, let's reach in, give it a little Gerald Mendez texture effects. Mike's brush, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, while that's drying, let's move down here. We're going to give this, you know what, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just going to do this as a general blend fade. No color, no texture. Just a drop shadow fade. So you can see that you don't have to put something in each area. Sometimes just a nice clean drop shadow fade works just fine. You know, the reason why I chose this is I'm doing a bike right now that's got this same theme going on. Yeah, this would be a really cool color to add some like gold leaf or variegated leaf around it would look insane. So we're going to do the same. I'm just going to kiss some of this orange in here. Yeah, just keep adding and keep working. Mr. Ross, how you doing? Mr. Ross just showed up on YouTube. Thank you, sir, for popping in. Now I can come back up here and I can hit that. So see how it looks like 2 levels? And I'm going to let it kind of starburst. I'm going to let it almost stay silver at that edge. You know what? We'll leave that. I am going to texture this side a little bit. It's still a little wet there. It's a little heavy. Let's flip that fade out. And then we're almost into the middle. So my plan is to do all the patterns. I'm going to pull the middle, I'm going to render the skull inside here, which would be kind of fun and cool. And once that's done, I'm going to pull the center, and I'm going to just mist the final color over this. And that is going to make a little, there's an 1/8 inch, I'm going to see if we can peek in here a little bit. I have an 1/8 inch line that is in the middle of everything. I'm going to hit that as well with the color, so you'll have another color in here that'll blend and fade. It'll be bright silver underneath there. Cool, cool. Thank you, Mr. Mike. Thank you, Mike's Brush, for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I think this would be a good rewatch. And like I said, I did record the step-by-step of the tape out. And what I'll do is I'll get that together, edited, and kind of tag everyone when that's up. And I'll make this pattern available on my store and some other patterns you guys can pop through. So thank you for the super chat. So let's do a little bit of Gerald Mendez texture effects. In here. Just give it this kind of cool swirl pattern. Oops. I committed that. I used the black instead, so now I'm going to commit to that. I did it. I've got to commit. I don't want to change it now. It'll just be subtle pattern. See that just a little bit? I'm going to mirror it on this side so it has continuity. See, I made a mistake, but just like Bob Ross, happy little accidents. And just roll with it. Now we'll put that brown in here. And it'll look really, really cool. What is Super Chat? So Super Chat is basically a way that followers can you can pin post and you can pay and tip me for kind of what I'm doing here, and it just helps me out in the greater scheme of things. So it's just kind of a way to show your appreciation for what I do, what we're all trying to do here. A couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. Believe it or not, goes a long way. Okay, so I got everything established how I want it. It's all good. I'm going to leave most of this to the end, and I'll pull everything off so it'll be like Christmas. But I'm going to take my drop shadow color here, which is that black, and now that I got everything established, I'm going to hit like a light source popping down. Light source is always light source, LS, pointing down. So it's going to create shadows because these are going to inset, so they're going to look deep. So the light source coming down, so the casting shadow, and it's making it bright here, darker towards the edge of the tape. Okay, we're going to hit that. Be very sparing with this. You'll see it just push that one back. It doesn't take a lot. You can overdo this really fast here. Yeah. Yes.
With the wire pattern, was it glue or wire?
This here. So this pattern was done on a vinyl mask that I plotted out.
I was asking about the texture swirly thing.
Oh, so yes, the texture swirly thing. This was hot glue. This was hot glue on a super non-stick aluminum foil. I've been making these for well over a decade or more now. This one's probably 5 years old. And you just put it on super non-stick aluminum foil, get it really hot, and move it. You can do it with wire too. We used to take like broom brushes and cut them apart and tape them together. You can make all sorts of stuff. Before everything was available for purchase on the internet, we made a bunch of stuff. I'm going to sound really old right there. So I'm going to hit that, so that drop shadow. See, everything just keeps pushing back. Make sure you balance left to right. I'm going to hit that dark, even though it really wouldn't. I'm going to make sure it's darker more on this side. The light's going through. A lot of times this would be on a bike, so it would be wrapped around, so your drop shadows would cast kind of that way. I'm going to make sure I'm going to hit everything here. This is the dirt track. So I'm just going back and forth between dirt track brown, dirt track brown, and the grabber orange. Cool. Simple. Easy. But yeah, and then, I'd pull this, but we're going to get into the artwork here right now. I want to thank everyone for popping in. I think this is my biggest YouTube crowd so far. Thank you for all getting on here. We got over 50, almost 55 people in here. And we got 16 people over there on Facebook side. So if you want to see the better feed on Facebook, maybe click that link. Joe Vincent, you know how to get on YouTube. Click that link over there and get over to the YouTube side. You can see all the better cameras, and we can do all the switch, and things look cool, right? There we go. We can switch to my ugly mug, and I can say, "What's up?" So, thank you all for joining. Stay tuned for more stuff. We got next week. We're gonna do that skull piece. For those just joining, this is this week's project. Next week, we're going to make this downloadable on my McKay Fine Art store. And the That's going to have all the files, and I'll do the paint list, materials list. So if you want to follow along next week's, you're going to be able to. Chris Garcia, thank you, my friend. Really, really appreciate that. You're awesome. And thanks for coming to class. Hope you enjoyed it. So you'll recognize some of the stuff, Chris, from what we did in class. This is another take on what we did on the project on day 3. But I'm going to have Kaylee put up that picture again. So next week's project is going to be this, which is going to be this right here. So those just popping. Definitely make some time for next Thursday evening. And if you want to follow along, I'm going to have this on my store probably by Monday. You can download this. I'll have a materials list. I'll have the panel prepped and let you know how to do all that prior to the feed. And you can follow along this project. And some of you might remember that from Airbrush Action Magazine from years back. I'm going to redo this as a video how-to. All right, let's get moving here. Let's see. Larry, thank you, sir. Oh, you already learned a lot tonight, man. That's great. So, Larry LaFleur, maker of the last airbrush stand you ever need. Check his stuff out. It is I don't have one. I'm going to grab one soon, but that stand is awesome, and you definitely want to check that out. But yeah, Larry took my class. He learned a lot, and this is kind of an expansion of what me and Rhino did on our Down and Dirty Tricks class. Speaking of classes, what we got coming up again is the old Airbrush Art Circus. The Airbrush Art Circus is coming up, and it's going to be at Coast Airbrush this time, right? We're going to be back in Anaheim, California with the whole Airbrush Art Circus crew, and we're going to add some new stuff to it. We got some new instructors coming on with some new classes. Stay tuned for some announcements. That's going to be awesome. But I'll be doing my Down and Dirty Tricks class there. That's October 1st through the 5th at Coast Airbrush in Anaheim, California. The site's not fully up to date on that yet, but stay tuned. It's going to be really soon. So what I'm going to do is this is kind of repurposing. I was going to do my pack of skulls, but I'm going to save that for... I got a video plan that's going to be very systematic walkthrough on the pack of skulls. Kelly can drop that artwork when she has a sec. Not physically. She can...
He dropped the mouse.
The off-screen producer is dropping stuff. This, I did a live feed like...
Wait, what graphic did you want me to put?
No, just take it off screen.
Oh.
Yes.
Put up another one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So, I did this a couple, maybe a year ago. It was a green fire skull. I did a paper skull. I save all this stuff. I put it in a drawer, put it in a folder, so it's there. And I'm just going to repurpose it. And I'm just going to use it. But and what I'm going to do, just to be on the safe side, let's mask off. And I don't have, let me grab one of my maskers here. These guys come in so handy. Thank you, James. That's awesome. That's a cool little graphic there. What's that guy? That's awesome. Thanks, James. Really appreciate it. Said those super chaps help, man. They, you know, these videos don't happen in a vacuum. They just definitely don't happen in just 2 hours. You know, they take probably, you know, I simplified this one so it's not as crazy as the last one. The last two were pretty in-depth, and I bit off a little more than I could chew. And each day was probably a 12-hour day to get those feeds done. And I know they'll help a lot of people, and they'll be good for everything in the end. But I got to be realistic about how many hours I spend on a feed versus working in the studio. Eventually, I'd like to just make this, you know, this day, if it's profitable enough, that that's all I'm doing on a Thursday is setting up the awesome feed. But that will come. And the more support, guys like me, you know, Mike can attest to this. You know, the more support we get, the easier it is to do these videos, because they definitely are a good amount of work. Mr. Gillette, I have my pack of skull stencils here. But, you know, for the feed, I'm going to have to do like 3 of them on here, and I think I would rather... Mr. Riggins, thank you very much for that shout-out and that support. Really appreciate it. You buying me a shot? Here we go. Here we go. This is from Ed. Ed, you bought me a shot. I was going to do pack of skulls, but I want to keep... You know, I don't want to go too nuts into it, and I really want to do a dedicated pack of skulls feed. where I go over each one, and that's going to happen. Just not going to happen tonight. So I'm going to do a regular skull in here, so it's a little bit bigger, but I want to do more freehand on this one. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use a lot of this. I'm just going to put them in there just for some baseline registration, and then I'll just do a free-for-all. Yep, Ed, it is like buying me a shot. That's probably the best example, and it's much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Okay. So, like I said, you know, I'm just going to, this was repurposed. I did this, whoops. Hi. Let me go back. We're just going to go to the straight-on shot. And I'm just going to put this in for registration. I'm going to just freestyle and kind of change the skull up a little bit. I'm just going to use this for a marker, you know, as opposed to sketching, because I'm going to be doing candies here. So I don't want to be, you know, having a lot of pencil mark underneath this. See, just enough to register it in. See that? That's probably about as much stencil as I'm going to use. And that allows me David, every super chat Scott does a shot can make it an interesting night. We'll not do a full shot. I'm not committing to that. No. There we go. No, I'm not committing to a shot for every super chat. Unless it's really a lot of money, then we could talk about that. But I don't know the legality of doing that. So we're not going to do that tonight. But I will at least acknowledge and take a drink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this skull. Oh, my airbrush is trailing a little bit. So this will be a quick how to fix it. And this happens to all of us, guys. Basically, the needle's sitting back a little bit, some debris, and paint's coming out as soon as I push the trigger down. Easiest way to check that first is I usually take the needle, loosen the chuck up a little bit, give it a spin, usually off to the side, pull back the needle, pull it back, reseat it, kind of give it a little spin. Right as rain. Easy fix. Michael might join you if it's tequila. Yeah, no, I ain't doing tequila. Nope. Nope, that's when Gerald, if Gerald's around, everyone knows about Gerald with tequila. So I'm going to just do my own kind of where the teeth should be. You know what I do want to do? What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this back. And I want to hit it pretty hard, kind of underneath. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Nope. See, just got to work on the fly. Let's do this all just free. Yeah, I'm going to change the nose shape a little bit. This airbrush is a little funky. Yeah, $5, 55 people. Yeah, and that a little bit helps. And like always, you know, these paintings are always available for bid if anyone's interested. As with the other paintings, for those who missed last week, this was last week's painting.
It's actually finished now.
It's actually finished, and if you didn't see it, it was finished the next day. We did a little feed. So this is a 12 by 18 panel. And this one is done. This was really cool. If anyone's interested, they could definitely private message me on that. Yeah, so a pretty cool piece. I really enjoyed that one. And a couple weeks ago was the pirate one. Was this one here. This was a great project. This one is actually available for purchase as well, but this project is on McKayFineArt.com. If you go to McKayFineArt.com, this project is available for download, and you can follow along the video on this piece as well, and do this piece yourself. This was a cool one. So I'm going to bring these down. We're going to give them some gnarly eyebrows and really make them a little more angry than normal. I'm just going to stylize this guy so he's less, you know, realistic, not realistic looking, but I'm just going to tweak him, give him a little bit more of kind of a tattoo stylized kind of look. Yeah, the pirate one was fun, man. That was a really fun one to do. I really appreciate everyone. I know everyone's popping over from Facebook side. I really appreciate everyone popping over. Make sure you subscribe, and there's a little bell. If you hit that bell, that's a notification bell. Just like on Facebook, when I go live, you'll get notified. And you can follow along and keep track of what we're doing over here. You know what? Let's give him an eye. That's a little too big. These mixing cups can be good for this. Watch this. That's a little too small. Do I have my... I don't know if I have a circle template here. Sorry for anyone on YouTube, I'm blocking. No, I don't have a big circle template. So, I'm going to take this. I'm going to do a single eye. That's fine. I'm going to make it big. Oh, just a mixing cup. Spray around the mixing cup. Ta-ta. Yeah, it's a little too big. That's fine. We'll do that. We'll have one eye. I'm going to shadow that. So I'm going to go with like a dark after this, and that's really going to tighten it all up. Let's get him back in here. I need to know where is this. I lost a little bit of that. There we go. That's just going to be an empty eye socket. We're gonna start figuring out next couple weeks, like a Q&A type of thing, or like a question like Mike used to do, and we'll see if we can get some giveaway products and stuff from some sponsors. We'll ask some airbrush history or some random trivia question, and see if we can start giving some stuff away. Steve, there is no bids on this one, not yet. You, sir, could be the first. And if you can't afford to bid in the overall painting, we do accept tips and super chats. It is not required, but it is highly appreciated. How do I store my stencils? And I got a few ways. So here on my bench, I just got like a little 4-drawer, like a 6-drawer aluminum thing. Just basically small drawers. And then out in my shop I have just an expandable folder, like a 12-month binder for you know, taxes and stuff. I just sort those into there. Yeah, something engraved there could be really cool. Maybe I'll put a couple bullet holes there using pocket graphics. Use these little guys. Because I didn't really plan anything. But if someone was to bid on it and want to buy it and have a logo put in here, we could definitely talk about making that happen. I know a guy. I'm going to get some small textures in here. Some Girl Mendez texture effects as always. Let's see here. I love this one. This is the Mr. LePage. What's going on, man? I just saw you pop in. Hopefully you can click that link and hop over to the YouTube side to get the better quality video, sir. I love this one here. This is like a sea sponge texture. I love it for skulls and stuff. Another really awesome one for texture, I have the micro one here, is by Drew Blair. He has these micro dots, which if you can look here, let's see if we can zoom in. So you can see right through it, but it's all little dots. And it creates a really awesome, mainly used for skin texture, but I've been liking it for doing skulls because it leaves like almost just micro marks in the skull. They're really small. It's hard to see, but they're there. All right, let's do an eye. So who's gonna be? That's gonna be a small pupil. That's fine. He's gonna look crazy. So we're gonna do a small iris right in the middle. Give that a little color. See, that make him look super crazy. And then he'll get a really dark pupil right in the center.
Oh, I have a bid for $200.
Paul, that is an awesome bid. That is an acceptable bid. This painting will leave for that. And if you haven't seen it, that's what the rest is. So we usually catch up, private message later. Once the feed's over, we'll announce who the winner is, either on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook side. You can message me there, or you can message me at scott@thinairgraphics.com. And whoever wins the bid. So yeah, for 200 starting bid, it'll go for that. So if anyone wants to up that, have at it, sir. Really appreciate that bid. Thank you, Paul. Let's have some mineral staining just kind of coming down off that skull. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. I said, I'm just mapping this out. He's not going to look this color. He's going to have all those oranges, and we'll get the darker tones in there. I'm just using this to kind of map things loose. We talked about a bullet hole. We'll set that up right here. I'm going to cover these little squares just to get rid of that. Make sure we don't have any.
Where do you buy your panels in bulk?
Oh, so I go to my sign supplier. So up here in Boston, just outside of Boston, I have a sign supply called Supplies Unlimited. But most areas have a, wherever sign companies buy their stuff from, you can usually find it. So I use a place called Supplies Unlimited. I buy these by a 4x8 sheet. I buy them in a 4x8 sheet, and then I have them cut down to 18x24s for me. And these are super easy to cut and snap yourself. You can do it with a razor blade. And with just like scoring glass, and then I cut them down whatever size I need from there. I'm going to establish this dark hole first with that black before I move on. Okay? And we'll make that look like it belongs. So for those joining, we do have a bid on this original painting of 200. Within the continental U.S., it'll be free shipping and handling once we're over that mark. And outside of the country, it's just, that's its own animal. That I have no control over. The rates get ridiculous right now if it's overseas. As Mr. Collier knows. What I'm going to do before I start doing any color washes, I'm going to start erasing some details. Eraser. For those of you who've never seen this done, and most of you have been on my feeds have, what we're going to do is just going to erase a lot of little details back. And it's great for adding little textures and highlights. So watch, I'm going to put the highlight in the eye instead of using white. It's right there. If you use white over silver, you get a flop. You get that blue shift. But you get it worse on silver than you do on like a white canvas because you're shifting out the metallic as well. So I try not to use white to highlight anything on these panels, on silver backgrounds. I try to erase as much as possible. Or if I have to use a white, I usually mix a fine silver with a few drops of white in it. Oh, thank you, Wayne, for getting both running. So you can give me shit in 2 places. Me and Wayne have been trying to get together for weeks now, and I keep getting too tied up, and we got to make that happen soon. See how that highlight comes out? Look, I'll do the septum right up the nose. Just grind that right in. Awesome way for doing highlights. You know, eradication method. See? But you gotta work light. You gotta work in light coats. So a lot of times I'll just wash over areas like really fine. And then watch, you can go over, watch, I'll hit this whole area. So you just pop that right out. It's a highlight on the edge. If you have trouble doing teeth, this is an awesome way to do teeth. If you don't have electric erasers, you can use stick erasers as well. See? Sometimes I use both, so I got all these little dots here. I'll just smooth this out like that. Make it like a nice natural highlight. But if I put white on that, like I said, it would kill it. So we'll bring up this eye. Bring up the highlight. Because that, you know, that shift happens because you're covering up the metallic underneath, and the white, that blue shift is happening. So, and when you clear it, it gets much worse. Like I look at some of the older bikes I did, and I see how I used to do the white highlights. Like, oof, just not what I would do now. Still look good. Still, it doesn't look bad. It just doesn't. This looks better, betterer. And these are the new erasers. These are USB rechargeable erasers from Iwata Media. You can get these at Coast or anywhere that sells Iwata products. Really good power, rechargeable. They also have a small adapter, so I can go from like the fat end to the skinny end. I can if I could get it out, because I went in too far. I use a blade, will pick it up. There we go. So I use the skinny one, pop this in. Now you can do little details. See that? Little small details. Details. So like, if you have trouble airbrushing teeth, watch this. Shade them in. Now just do this. Now I can erase out the highlight edge. Put little cracks in the teeth. See? Little highlights above, little highlights in the nose. You can go as nuts as you want with this. Or you can take the eraser sticks like this. And look, I'll softly blend that tooth right out. Alright, we're going to start moving along on this. Now that it's getting after 9. Get a little bit more in here. I'm going to make this crack a little bigger. I'm going to make it look like it pushed in the skull a little bit. And crack the skull up. And we're going to make it look like it goes in, so we're going to shadow around the top here, and that's going to push that in. Watch. See, it just pushed that down inside. I want to get really dark under here so it really pops that skull out. And it's kind of looking a little orangey on screen. Let's flip to the other camera, you'll see the kind of the difference. When I start putting the other colors in, it's really going to warm everything up. Gary Gallant, how's it going, brother? Thank you for popping in. If you notice that link down there on the Facebook side, get over to YouTube. You'll see the really good camera angles. And the logos we put up. All that fun stuff. Anyone's got any questions, feel free to put them out there.
It is 9:12.
Thank you, Kaylee. Kaylee gave me the time check. It is 9:12. Let's bring another little pocket graphics here. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to use this to make it look like it's casting a shadow on the eyeball. Get a little harder edge. See? See, it now just sets that back even more. Because it made it look like it's pushed under the lid. Alright, let's get a little orangey. Let's warm this thing up a little bit. Let's make that eye really, I want that iris to be super orange. Really bright. Gonna wash over the whole thing. At this point, you can't really do much erasing. That's why I did it when I did. That's gonna be probably the brightest highlights you're gonna get out of it. If I try to erase now, I could probably get some of them, but it's gonna get really hard. So maybe I'll try one more, especially on that eyeball, and get that super bright. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. There we go. See how that popped out? So I went all the way down to the silver. If I go too harsh, I'll get all the way down to the black panel. This started out as a black panel. I'm going to put little highlights there as well. Let's see if we can punch these guys out just a hair. And actually what we'll do is I want to use a blade for this one. We'll just put little scratches. Nope, that's not going to work too well. Yep, there we go. I'll tip that back down a little bit. wash over this guy with all that nice orange. And when this is cleared, man, it is going to pop like crazy. Look at that tone. So now what I'm going to go in is with my Micron, which is the dark, the near black, not fully black, but this is a mixture of that black and the dirt track brown. I'm going to go into all my details and shadows. I'm going to start really just carving all those details out. See how fast it goes? It's not pure black. If I was to use pure black, it would look really cartoony super fast. It's got a little bit of a warmth to it. I might actually put a little bit more of the brown in here. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, the camera system, a lot went into the camera system this year to make that happen. A lot. Well, I'm glad I did it. It makes these videos fun to do. And it really shows off all the details we can get with these paints and this equipment and stuff. So I really wanted to let everything show through. That's why I put the money into these cameras. So you guys get some really cool feeds. And if you guys are happy, then I'm happy. And, you know, there's some financial benefit involved. You know, when people can see the feeds better and bid on the paintings and, you know, can really see what it is. It just adds value to it. And we got a good crowd in here tonight. 67 people, man. That's awesome. I want to thank everyone for the super chats. That's really helpful. It's funny that Ed said it's like buying me a shot. I think, is it on Twitch, Kaylee, where it's like you buy someone a coffee, it's a tip amount? Or
no, that's...
What is that for?
No clue. I think it might be called coffee.
I know there's something that you
on Twitch you can get tips, and on Twitch you can get tips, donations.
Yeah, I thought I saw where...
You get paid for, like, subscriptions.
Yeah, I thought they had, like, icons you could get that are worth X amount.
No, I think there's coffee.
So I'm going to darken that up. And this is where I start putting all the depth. By working those mid-tones, it allows you to push this thing forward. But if you...
So there's coffee, K-O-F-I, which is one thing. Which is... It's its own site called Ko-fi.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we're not going to go into all that stuff.
I'm going to ask if you're going to be at the circus.
Will it be at the circus? Of course we'll be at the circus, man. Kaylee will put those dates up again for anyone who wants to see it. Airbrush Art Circus right here. That's going to be Anaheim, California, October 1st through the 5th at Coast Airbrush. It is going to be awesome. I'm going to be teaching my Down and Dirty Tricks class, which we go over stuff like this. We do mural work, we do plotting, we do computer, we do everything there. It's a 5-day program, so we could really get in depth on a lot of stuff. And we got some new instructors coming on board. It's going to be an awesome event. If you've never been to an art circus, where typically we usually do them at a hotel, this time it's going to be hosted by Coast Airbrush. So it'll be the first time for that, which is going to be really awesome. It's just going to be cool. Oh, you can do custom icons for members. Yeah, Mike's got it unlocked. Mike's got a great page. So if you like what I'm doing here, check out Mike's Brushes page. Mike's also doing awesome videos and providing awesome content for the community.
The dates gone?
Yeah, you can pop those dates off. So yeah, that's really looking cool. I'm going to get this dark, get these teeth knocked out. See, this was, I mean, this wasn't like a crazy back-breaking project to do. It's fun, it pops. The biggest thing with LowRider panel work is good, clean layout. You know, getting a plan for where everything's going to lay is one of the big keys. As you'll see when this is unmasked, it's going to just have a really cool look. Which I think that's almost enough. What do you think? Think that's almost enough? Vincent Designs, what's going on, buddy? Let's go in and darken this. Just get these teeth knocked in a little bit more. And the sockets so the teeth go up. So this guy's gonna look super deep when we pull it off. You know what I almost want to do? You know what I think I'm gonna do? Just really light. Watch this. Really light. Make sure we're dry. Should be dry enough. I'm going to ghost a little bit of the honeycomb pattern into his forehead just to give it continuity. And hopefully I'm not putting this on too soon. I don't think I am. There we go. See? When everyone tells you that, oh, every time I use water, it peels, and I mask, and blah, blah, blah. It's usually because you're doing stuff way too soon. Oh, Mike, yeah, man, I appreciate it. So watch, I'm just going to ghost this into his forehead. That should be about it. Yeah, that looks cool. It just fades up into the forehead. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, man, the likes help. Definitely like, subscribe. Hi, Mom. I just noticed my mom's over on my Facebook side. Thanks for popping in. Cool, that looks awesome. I'm happy with that. Alright, let's take this off. Oops, take this one off first. Take this one off. Just watch how this keeps coming together. Working the layers, and you see everything's coming out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull just this mask, and I'm leaving the 1/8 inch. There's an 1/8 inch blue pinstripe tape in there, which is the blue fine line. Let's see if I can go eventually make it to one of your classes. Maybe if you do something here on the East Coast. We've been doing Florida a few times. Florida's been an option. So hopefully next time we get down there, you can make it. You know, Upper East Coast is just always too damn expensive to do it, you know, at a good environment. There we go. So now I'm going to keep this on the brighter side. I don't want to make it too much brown. I want to keep it brighter. So I'm just going to follow the pinstripe and wash over. I'm just going to wash over the whole thing. And if I was using a bigger, I'd use a bigger gun normally for this. This is just an eclipse, but it goes to show you how broad. I've done most of 80% of this was done with the eclipse detail. I used the micron just because I had it. I didn't need it. But you can go from detail, this nice wide atomized spray. Very few airbrushes that I've used over the years do both really well. The Eclipse is just, you know, a good all-around workhorse. I'm just going to go heavy. I'm going to follow right down the tape. Now I'm going to pull the 16th. So that you can see it nice and clear. I'm going to kiss it one more time with paint. Because the only thing I want pure silver is the wider 1/8 inch tape. Nice crisp lines. I should have brought a bigger extractor fan up here today because this is a little more paint than I normally spray up here in the studio. But it's water-based, it's all fine, but it's just a little cloudy. There we go. So again, this thing is getting wrapped up. It has a $200 bid if anyone wants to get in before the end of this feed. This will get cleared, polished, and look all pretty before it leaves. See, now I'm making it gold. Because candy keeps stacking, so everything else will get darker around it. And that will stay brighter because it's only got one pass. It is 9:30 and we are almost done with this feed.
Yeah, no, I did not notice the cloud.
Yeah. Ta-da! Now comes the full unveil. Let's double check everything. You know what? I'm going to just once around everything with the root beer, just lightly, very lightly. Mr. Garcia, thank you for that compliment. That means a lot. Me and Ryan put a lot into that Airbrush Rendezvous program. We have for the past 9 years or more. We've done a total of 36 original projects. We've never duplicated a lesson. And we don't plan to. Even my art circus class, I duplicate lessons to a degree, but I always change them up each time, so there's a fresh take on it. But because the 5-day class, I have the first 2 days are kind of structured, and then the next 3 projects are always different. So you have a nice clean, these nice clean lines. This is what's so nice about it. I'm going to zoom out here. Color looks better because that looks like not great. The color will get lighter when the camera zooms out. There we go. Look at that. That's what we're looking like there. These are fun projects, you know, you start playing with some tape and some candy, some colors. It's endless. Sometimes the problem with these designs is just figure out the direction you want to go in the beginning because it's so endless. But it's really rewarding when it's all done and pays off and it looks like this. Said this is going to go to a new home. Right now the bid is only at $200, which is a steal for this painting. The bike I'm doing this week is not in these colors, it's all in blues. But I didn't want to do this one in blue because, as everyone knows, I do a lot of paintings in blues. So I don't think I've done one in bright oranges and like root beer tones and ever. So I mean, I've done root beer browns and sepias, but there we go. That is pretty much it. That is the painting. I can go in here. I can add some more little details. And, you know, continue to work and make things a little cooler and darker. I really want to thank everyone for all those super chats. That is awesome. Just little details. All right, we are finishing this up. What is your copper formula? Well, this I'm just doing over on Facebook. Joel asked what my copper formula is. Really isn't. This is Grabber Orange from Cratex and the Dirt Track Brown. And when you suddenly mix those together with silver, you get that kind of really copperish glow look to it. Well, we might actually have to wrap this up a little on the early side, Kaylee.
Yeah.
Usually I run these about 2 hours, but this is looking pretty much done. We'll do a couple little things and a couple little extra details. Like someone mentioned, putting a logo. If someone wanted a logo there, if they want to bid that up, I could always sneak a logo into this painting. Yes, great question, nameless subscriber. So, I do what's called, we teach this in our classes a lot at the circus and rendezvous, sequential masking. Okay? Sequential masking is you tape in a certain order and then you pull off in a certain order. And I work sequentially, so I kind of pull as I go. So whatever gets taped first is what gets pulled off last. So what got taped first was the thicker 1/8 tape. And that was the silver panel, which that's the silver of the panel itself. And then everything is candied on top of that. So all this color you're seeing is a result of the first base color silver underneath. And it's stacked on top and stacked on top and stacked on top until it's done. So that way you get that natural build. Yep, made it look easy. That's the point. Try to make it look easy. And when things go well, it is easy. But like I said earlier, just like working on an old vehicle, every 5-minute job is a broken bolt away from a 3-hour job. And it's really true with this. So we're going to sign this up here. I'm just using a Posca paint marker. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to tint that down with some candy. And look, it's almost the same color as bourbon. Look at that. Tone that signature in yellow. I'm going to tone the bottom so those pinstripes actually fade right off the panel. A little pop here. And I think that is going to be all she wrote, kids. You're going in Rhode Island to the end of August. You're pretty close to me then, man. I'm only an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes from Rhode Island. Used to spend my weekends as a kid down there. That's where my mom and dad are from, and most of my family, extended family, is down in Warwick, Coventry, Providence area. So that's pretty cool. Let me know when you're coming up. All right, I think we're going to wrap this up. We could take some Q&As. Anyone have any questions? Anyone any comments? What we got?
Someone said another 50 for my company logo on the forehead. The Paul Keeler.
Okay. Yeah, man, you can totally do that. So, if the logo's simple enough, and we'll work it into the painting. So we'll talk afterwards, and we can throw that in there. All right, so I'll put you at 250, and that'll be good. Sean, yeah, we could catch up after that. I want to talk to you about the pens and stuff too. So we'll go from there. What's your secret to smooth work? Secret to smooth work. Sorry about that. So, I don't know if it's really a secret. I've been doing it for 30 years. So, brush control has a lot to do with it. So, there's a natural flow to everything. I'm a two-handed painter, and I do that for a reason. So, it better control instability and flow and a lot of upper body movement. So when I'm painting, I'm not locked in. Even when I'm on this chair, I'm not super locked in. It's very loose here, and I move and I use my shoulders when I'm doing things like that. That's smooth transition. And the other thing is proper reduction of paint, understanding how paint lays down. and letting it dry in between coats. Whether it's solvent or water, the most important thing is letting the paint dry, letting it work itself out, and layering in small layers, not trying to ram color in right off the bat. When I was a t-shirt painter back in the day, we rammed color down really fast, bold lines, quick in and out, awesome for shirts. For doing motorcycles and fine art and stuff, you want to build slowly. You want to slowly build it over time and just, bring tones up. By doing it that way, your work's a lot easier to control. If you make a mistake, it's minimal. You haven't gone full coverage yet, so you can tweak it a little bit. By doing that, you just end up with a much smoother paint job. And just practice, man. That's really all it is practice your butt off. People who play instruments practice guitar an hour or two a day. People who play drums, same thing. Race car drivers, it's practice, and everything becomes second nature. So yeah, it's just you just got to work it and practice, and all the smoothness will come. Do show us, yeah. When I get this cleared and set up in the next couple weeks, I'll post a picture of that piece and let you guys see it. We're gonna end this about 20 minutes early, I think. I want to thank everyone for popping in. Paul, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll touch base after. And I hope you enjoyed this feed. I hope you enjoyed this project. Cleared, it's going to look amazing. Stay tuned for next week's project. Next week's project is going to be awesome. It's going to be this piece here. It's going to be the skull, your tribal hook skull that I did back in Airbrush Action. So stay tuned for that. And I'll put posts up when you guys can download that and get everything up. So you can follow along next week if you want. I think that would be cool if we get a bunch of people doing it at the same time. So let's shoot for that. And we'll go from there. Until then, everyone have an awesome weekend. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Make sure you share this. Tell your friends about it. Like and subscribe. And we are going to get out of here and see you all next week. Thank you very much. Have a good one.